Live from the Partners Neighborhood Bar and Grill in beautiful downtown Huntsville, Alabama.
What time is it?
What time is it?
What time is it?
What time is it? What time is it?
It's tea time with Tierra, darling, where we are spilling the tea. Hello, everybody. This is episode 9 of T-Time with Tierra. I'm here with my co-host, Pete. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing today, Tierra?
Good, thank you. It's great to be here today. Today we're going to turn the tables a little bit.
Uh-oh, what are we going to do, Tierra? What are we going to do?
We're
I'm so
going
excited.
to interview each other.
Are you serious?
Yes, I think it'd be great for our audience watching to get to know us a little bit.
Oh, we're going to look behind the scenes.
What do you think about that?
It could be very revealing. Okay, let's do this. Okay, I'm excited.
So how you like to start, or you want me to start?
However you feel comfortable. Different. You want me to start?
You go ahead and start. You want to start?
I'm going to start. So, I hope I ask all the questions all y'all out there want to know about Tierra. She's got the magic wand out. She's going to beat me with it. But ask the right questions. All right. So, what I'd really like to know of you, Tierra, is just to talk about your journey because I used to come to the club a long, long time ago, and I always saw you, and I always admired you, and I talked to you a couple of times. And then, we started doing the show, we really started getting to know each other, and I think that you're a different person than the person that I admired even just a few years ago. So can you talk to us a little bit just about the journey, how you feel different?
Yeah, well, I could say my journey started when I was born. Obviously it wasn't a journey, it was a learning experience. But my journey started when I realized that I wasn't quote unquote normal to society. And that was at early age 5. I remember putting on high heels, wrapping a towel around my head and thinking, hey, this is what it's like being a woman.
Right.
And I was only 5 years old and I could not comprehend that myself. But I always knew there was something a little different about me. So as I evolved, getting older, I realized going to school I had to blend in just a little bit. But the more I tried to blend in, which is ironic, the more I tried to blend in, the worse it stood out. Because the one thing we've learned today is being your authentic self is really what shines the most. Regardless if people like it or they don't like it, they'll always find something positive within it. So, and then I realized that after I got out of school, well, I was 16 years old, I'm nervous right now. Did I ever mention that to you?
No, never.
I was 16 years old. I remember hating everything in my life. I was miserable. I did not know what color the sky was because my world was so dark, it never got light. So I decided that I was going to go out in the backyard of my sister's place and I was going to roll around in the dirt. That it was raining. I was trying to bury myself as far as I could because I was so unhappy. And I didn't know why I was so unhappy because it couldn't all be just because I felt like I was a girl. There's no way that just feeling like you were the other gender when you were born could not make a person feel so miserable because my family I never talked to them about that, so they wouldn't outcast me as a transgender girl. So when I was 17, I realized it was time for someone to know that I was having this feeling. Instead of telling them I was transgender because I didn't know that word back in the early 80s, So I decided that I was just going to let her find my heart what she needed.
Oh, so you staged it.
Yeah.
You staged your own intervention.
I had started talking to a guy at the time. And he was a little bit older, but he was just really nice to me, and he always encouraged me to be who I am. Of course, when you're lost in the world, it's hard to find because you don't really know who you are. So I thought the first step was to be honest with my mother as much as I could. So I had a pair of 5-inch red stilettos. Oh, they were sexy. They were patent leather.
Like the Devil Wears Prada?
Yes.
Okay.
Pencil heel. And I put those in a jacket pocket in my bedroom closet. Because I always knew that she would go in there and hang my clothes up. So she found them. And she asked me, whose were those? And then I was like, they're they're a friend. So I got scared of on intervention.
Right.
But so this guy started calling my house out right. So she asked who he was, and I said it was Maggie. So then she called him out. I was gay, which felt weird.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It felt off.
Yeah, it didn't feel completely right. That was a little off balance, so something wasn't resonating.
Right.
So I moved out. I was 17.
Wow.
I moved out, and I moved in with him, and I was with him for 5 years. And we just grew apart. But during that time, his family found out that he was gay. Here's the funny part. They asked him if I knew he was gay because they thought I was his girlfriend.
Oh, wow. And
I had met them and everything. I had his mom's dishes.
Wow.
But they thought, and I thought, wow, that was my first moment of thinking, people really think I'm a girl.
Right.
They don't just think I'm a lesbian. Because I was so androgynous, people couldn't figure out if I was a lesbian or if I was a girl. But most people refer to me as man.
You know, it's interesting because usually it seems like when people are transgender, that's almost kind of the way they kind of go through this like androgynous period, don't they?
Yeah, it's like, because we're afraid to grow our hair out longer. We're afraid to, I don't know, we're just afraid of many things. And we start slowly, like we'll start wearing a little training bra up under our clothes, you know, just to kind of get that feel. And you think you're really doing something. You are,
right.
but you're not, it's more to come though, you know? Right. But it was, when they asked him if I knew, he got really mad.
Yeah.
Because his whole reasoning of coming out was because he wanted us to be happy.
Wow.
So it threw us off as a couple. And then I left. Actually, it threw me out. Got really mad. Threw all my stuff on the lawn.
Oh, wow.
So I'm spilling the tea, okay? So you might want to clutch your pearls.
I'm sorry, we're gonna have pearl clutching moments here. So I forgot they were even there.
So he threw me out. All my feather headdresses I used to have for show was in the rain. So, but then he locked the door, and I stayed in. He wouldn't let me out. Mad at me for wanting to leave after him throwing me out because he wanted me to leave. Wow. It's odd.
Yeah.
So my mom come rescue me. She come got me, and it was the first time I went back home after that. You know, to see her. Then it wasn't too long after that I was home. My dad passed away. So I think everything happened so I could be there when he did. Because the day he left to go leave home, to go to take my sister to school and go to work, he told me he loved me. Wow. And it was one of the very few times I remember my dad going, hey, I love you. Wow. And I was a bitter queen, party of one, you know. I was very bitter, but so I didn't say I love you back. Yeah. So that haunted me after he passed away.
I think so. So we'll be right back.
Hello, welcome back. We're still talking about me.
What a great subject that is, too. I love it.
It's because not a lot of people know me.
Right.
They know.
I didn't know any of this stuff.
A lot of people think they know me.
Right.
But very few people really know me. There's family members, my own close family, that don't really know.
Yeah. So clutch my pearls, y'all are.
Yeah, you're being fed with. Being fed.
I love that being fed.
Yeah, being fed with some great information. Right. You know? So so yeah, that my spiritual journey, as I was saying, I'm still on it. I'm looking forward to what it. Here's the thing about when I was about to say I'm looking forward to continuing on, but the thing is, in order to continue, you've got to be able to hear it. Does that make sense? You've got to hear what you're being told to do.
Yeah. Yes.
And that, for me, before on my spiritual journey, I didn't get that. Right. I thought it was just going and thumping the Bible and sing a song. Right. But it's deeper than that. Right. You know, it's really a relationship. Exactly. You know? Yeah. And another thing I learned since November is that I'm really just here for other people. Okay. Does that make sense?
can. I just want to make sure that you're fulfilling your own self.
Yes, I am. But I think within fulfilling others, helping others, I believe my fulfillment comes without.
Well, the one thing I always know is that you need to fill your own cup first, and then you give to others out of your overflow.
Yeah, and I believe that because
that's one thing I want to be concerned with.
Yeah, okay. and I know that, and I believe when you have all the blessings that's coming your way, the overflow goes to others. And yeah, as a matter of fact, there was a sermon about that about 3 weeks ago at church where he talked about that, and it just keeps resonating with me about.
Because what happens is if you don't give out of your overflow, you give out of what you actually need, then you're going to turn to that other person and expect them to feed you back, but then they don't, and then you feel resentment.
That makes a lot of sense.
You know what I'm saying?
It makes it clearer.
Right. That's
There's
why
a little clarity there.
Because people, because there's a lot of people out there. I mean, I used to be a codependent caretaker, so I thought it was my role to be here for somebody else. And then I realized,
Yeah, I
mean, we're all here for each other.
Yeah, I was thinking more on a spiritual level, to help others.
Right.
I'm just here. But I think that we all have.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, me too. I think we all have a purpose. And knowing I know I have gifts, and I was taught, and I believe this, that it's spiritual gifts.
Okay.
Totally.
Yeah,
okay.
Totally,
So, and
you're
I think
speaking to the man here about yeah.
my spiritual gift is encouragement.
Okay. That's fine. I love it.
Yeah, encouragement. I think I have a gift of, I don't know if it's probably the same one. Probably, I was thinking helping, but that's encouragement. The gift of giving. I like giving to people. Not necessarily money.
Right.
I mean, but I like letting people know. I like giving somebody stuff like, I just like telling people good things about themselves.
What I see about you is that you are so easily able to connect with people. I mean, I've told Tierra this a couple times. I'm so impressed with the group of people that are so dedicated to her. You know, I mean, we went on a trip to Nashville a couple of weeks ago, and we had 2 carloads of people to go to Nashville. And I was like, I don't think I could get one person to go with me to Nashville. She has 2 carloads full. I was like, do you realize the great gift? I mean, I'm trying to make her feel guilty, but just like, do you just give? That's such abundance.
It is, and I often forget it sometimes. And I know that it sounds horrible, but I often forget it because I'm so used to it.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, sure.
And I'm human after all, and when I get cut, I bleed. So, but overall, I do know that I'm blessed with good people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Even the bad people are good sometimes,
Well, I actually put a tweet out the other day that said, be thankful for those that are not supportive of you because they teach you unconditional love.
That's right. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a clutch my problem. That's really good. Yeah. Can you say that again?
You want to be thankful for those that are not supportive of you because they teach you unconditional love.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because really, really when you start finding out about how things really work, life doesn't happen to you. Life happens through you. And any experience you have, and this is real hard to learn, this is real hard to hear sometimes for those of us that have been in a victim mindset. But you are a co-collaborator in everything that you've been through for your life. So if someone is not being supportive of you, it's not only, it's 2 parts. It's because from their viewpoint, they're seeing something about you that they're judging in themselves, which makes them angry towards you. And from your viewpoint, you're kind of doing almost the same thing. So when you approach everybody with unconditional love, guess what goes away? The unsupportive people. So just love everybody. Because you know what happens to me? I'm just surrounded by love all the time because I just love everybody. And when I'm not, when something happens, I don't, I no longer am like, anymore. I'm more like, I kind of step out of the issue and I'm like, interesting. I wonder why that person saw that in me that they didn't like. What did they see, and how did I collaborate in that, and how can I not bring that into my next situation? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. I wish I had those words a long time ago. I don't think I even spoke to you about my bullying days, did I?
No. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Yeah, but I remember it wasn't when I was young, really young. It was when I started thinking differently about me. It's when people started, I guess,
not noticing, but they decided to be mean. You know, but I used to walk I told you this story in my natural, but I used to walk the long way home.
Right.
So people wouldn't bully me or try to beat me up. But they would call me fat, they would call me, of course, queer, they would call me it. And these were the same people that I was in first, second, third, fourth, even fifth grade with. Was after I got into junior high, the bullying started. And I was wondering, just from that summer,
Right.
how could things be so different in
Right.
a mean way, you know? I
Right.
felt like, and so, yeah, it was horrible. I mean, I went through that. That's why I had that nervous breakdown at 16, almost at 16, because I didn't get it. So we moved school, we transferred schools because we moved to the county. And when I had every time to grow here, I used to hot roll my hair to go to school. I was a woman.
Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking past that when I went to school, that they had to take, that, you know, they had to know. You know, we had PE, you know, the boys and the girls. And then they asked one day in class, they would try to take a census of how many boys was in each class, how many girls were. Well, I sit in the back of the room and didn't stand up because I didn't know which one to stand up on.
Wow.
Even though most people there had figured it out,
Right.
I hadn't.
Right.
You know, that was their problem. I had figured it out. And I just really remember after talking to the teacher, the next day I found out that I was going to be an FFA. You know what that is?
No.
Future Farmers of America.
Oh my God.
Oh, yes. So here I go with my penny loafers and Argyle socks.
Right.
It was just a mess.
It's like Green Acres all over
Yes,
again,
and
wasn't it?
they tried to get me to weld.
Wow.
And I really think that they had a conspiracy against me.
Right.
That they were trying to force me to be manly.
Right.
Well, that didn't work. I failed. And they wanted me to buy a cow and raise it. That happened since. That didn't make much sense to me.
Yeah.
So I transferred to home ec.
That'd have been the prettiest cow there ever lived.
He would have had frilly lace around his neck. So I transferred to home ec. You know, that's where I started learning how to sew.
Okay.
Yeah, my first thing was an apron.
Oh, really?
I cut it out and sewed it and she, just like I never picked a sewing machine for until that day.
Yeah.
And then it was all good.
Boom.
I was home.
Right.
And so so being bullied was really bad for me. You know, it was, and I took that on into my later life too. Because I thought everybody was talking about me.
Oh. Oh.
I could walk in a room and they'd be laughing. I thought they knew I was coming.
Wow.
Horrible. Horrible way to live. It's ironic because some of the same people that talked about me in school have been to see my shows.
Wow.
Yes, and I went to a party, a girl named Tracy Colton. If you're watching, Tracy, hey! We were at the pool one day at Monticello Terrace when Heath and I were roommates. And I thought I knew her, but wasn't quite sure. It's been years since I've seen her. And so she said, I'm going to come over here and sit beside you, boo. That's what she told me. And her entourage, they all moved to where I was. So immediately I started feeling uncomfortable. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
I didn't know if they were going to bully me. You know, they were getting close so they could talk about me. So it was so wild because she said, I'm going to the store, you want anything? I said, I want a sugar daddy. She said, I bet you do. So I said, what is your name? Because they were calling her T. And that's what people call me. Hey, T. And she said, Tracy. I said, where'd you go to school? She said, Chapman. She said, who are you? I said, I'm Terry. She cried. Because she's the one who helped save me through the bullying. Like, she would protect me.
Wow.
And it's emotional because when it was like, I immediately felt safe again. As soon as she told me her name.
Wow.
And she'd been to see my show and did not know it was the person that she saved in school.
Is that amazing?
It is amazing.
Wow.
And I just thought that was wow.
Yeah.
It was a wow moment.
Yeah.
And I just, I was thankful. So that's how I got in touch with people that went to school with. She had a birthday party for her. She's a party. So, well, she's a football girl, so anytime there's a football game, she has a party. So she invited me, and that's where I've seen all the people at school with. They couldn't believe it, you know. So it's all good, all is well.
Okay.
Now, but I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, people who get bullied, it's really not you they're bullying.
Right.
You know, what you said like made a lot of sense, and that's why I wanted to tell you about my experience, because I realize now that some people beating themselves up.
Right,
Yeah.
because they were in that formative stage of going from adolescence to teenagerhood, and you know, all the hormones and trying to figure out who they were. Because there's such pressure put on us as far as like, are you male or female, or what role are you going to take?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, society puts so much pressure. And you know, the interesting thing is, you know, if you start looking back at ancient history, the sages and the gurus and the ones that were the medicine men were usually bisexual or transgender or gay. So we in ancient history, we were the ones that were come to ask the answers of. And now it's all like, you know, you have to fit yourself in this little pod.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I really think that's really, really changing. That's the world that you and I grew up in. I'm just a little bit older than you are. But I see it like, I almost cry when I go somewhere like a progressive city and I see like two guys holding hands.
In public.
In public.
Eating dinner.
In daylight.
Yes.
On the street.
It happened in Atlanta last week.
Yeah. And people aren't honking or yelling things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is just such a new, brave world.
I wonder if it's the people that used to maybe live in small towns who just decided to go to a bigger city and they developed that.
That's what Dan Savage says. You know, Dan Savage, the sex colonist. That's what he says. You know, that's what he tells all young gay people to do, to go to the big cities. That's what he tells them to do.
Yeah, and they're strict about it, you know, because there's an entire. You've been to Atlanta to hang out in the gay areas.
I went to a conference there in June, and I must have been unknowingly in the gay area because I was just surrounded. I was like, wow, look at this. Look at how, you know, number one, it was pretty. I'm supposed to say it was pretty. But number two, it was just amazing being able to see the comfortableness, the comfort level.
Freedom. Freedom.
Wow.
Let freedom ring, and they run, and they're still ringing. Because...
And looking good, too.
Oh.
Sorry.
They are, and I think if I lived there, I would be forced to have I would have a different lifestyle.
Right.
But I would have not better, but I would have a great lifestyle.
Right.
You know, I mean, in the malls, there's transgender girls walking around working. I mean, they're working 9 to 5. They're doing their thing.
Yeah.
And I think that is awesome. It sets a standard.
Well, that's interesting that you bring that up because being where we are, you know, I'm in this kind of juxtaposition where I'm trying to figure out. It depends on how you look at it. Because there's not much going on here, both as far as the gay world and spirituality. It could either be, okay, there's nothing going on, this is a bad thing, or there's nothing going on, great, that's a big opportunity. So I'm trying to figure out which side of that fence I'm going to jump on.
Yeah,
you know?
interesting.
Yeah, because I've got a lot of friends that live in like very progressive areas, and they're telling me about all the things they do, and I'm like, I don't think I could ever do that here. And I'm thinking, but why couldn't I be the first to do that here?
Hello.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure out which side of the fence I'm going to step on.
But there's decisions to be made. Regardless, is this decision to be right here or just to join the rest of it?
Yeah, I could either be the leader here or I could follow the pack over there. And I don't know. I'm good either way, actually, so I'm trying to figure out which one.
I realized that when I was over there, I went to a benefit at this club called The Jungle. This was at 6 o'clock in the evening. Now, you know, gay people here, they can't get out by 11 o'clock. And I was so... When I walked in, it was packed.
Wow.
And it was not a small venue.
Right.
Those people raised thousands of dollars in a matter of like 6 to 9 is what the benefit was.
Wow.
And it was local entertainers that are not in the circuit.
Wow.
They bowl, they do things, softball maybe, but they did drag to raise money for the children, AIDS law for children. And I'm so amazed. But prior to that, I was getting ready, and I was like, going through my mental process and listening to my music, and I was thinking, I'll just blend in here because there's so many wonderful big pieces of hair walking around.
Yeah.
But I had the best time. Every club I went into, I got my picture made with people. every time, and that's not anything except I'm just tooting my horn for a second because I thought I would be just another queen. But however, that was undermining my own ability. So yeah, and so when I walked in, I didn't realize that my light was much bigger than that spotlight that was on that girl in the show.
Right.
The MC called me out,
Right.
and I thought, how beautiful.
I mean, I'm going to tell you, when I used to come to the club before, you were the queen that I would notice. And I don't know, is it okay to call you queen?
Yeah,
Okay, I mean,
love the word queen.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what y'all were doing
yeah,
out there.
queens.
You were the one that I would notice every single time.
And it's,
now, a lot of times you did the little breast thing, so who couldn't notice?
well, I try to be calm. I don't do that anymore that much.
But you look fly.
But I don't know, they're checking over. So I have to cage them. I cage them every once in a while.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I just had a great time.
That's
and
fabulous.
it's amazing, you know, just, did you get the link to the YouTube video I sent you?
Which one?
Just the other day, through Facebook.
I can't remember. I get so many links, I'm sorry.
It was about a Ricky Lake show.
Oh, yeah, I didn't watch it though.
That was me. I sent you.
Yeah, I knew that was you, and for some reason I'm so sorry. So tell them about it.
I was on, okay. First of all, I was on Ricky Lake. It was the early 90s. I got a phone call. I met an entertainer at the club, Maxie Houston, rest in peace. She's been gone for a while now, but she got me a gig on the Ricky Lake show.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what I had to do to get there. I had to have a boyfriend or someone that thought I dressed ridiculous, you know? It's all staged. So my best friend Steve went with me. We pretended we've been lovers for 15 years. When we were just best friends, you know? And he was mad at me for dressing so sputty. But when I came into the Ricky Lake audience, they put me coming in from the back of the room. The stage was right there. So when I walked, I just stood there and I ate it up.
Did you really?
Oh, yes. And I sashayed down those stairs and down before Ricky and then turned around and went back up.
Oh.
And then come back. She said, my God, Tierra, you have got the sexiest legs. And from that day on, I never quit. I quit wearing long skirts, you know? But it was so, but how I got the clipping, this is pretty wild. A guy emailed me on Facebook and asked me if I would accept his friend request. Well, in the meantime, I was checking his profile to see if I knew him. And by that time, he had sent me another email and asked me if I was on the Ricky Lake show in the early 90s, or 2014. And I said, yes. He said, I have that clipping of you. He said, was you and Steve still together? I said, actually, Steve passed away like 5 years ago. I said, but no, you know. And he said, well, I've always admired you from watching that show. I said, pray tell me how you put it on together. Because I look completely different back then. He goes, I watched it today and I Googled, Ricky Lake called you Tierra, so I Googled Tierra. And the first person that popped up was a picture of you because he did images and he put it all together and found out it was me. He also, in the meantime, had been watching T-Time with Tierra.
Gosh.
In
It is a small world, isn't it?
Waynestown, Pennsylvania. And he told me he was a huge fan. But at the same time, he did not know that me was that person.
Wow.
So when he put it all together, he had a moment.
Wow.
And so he had been watching T-Time with Tierra and the Ricky Lake show. He was just a fan of other people.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing.
Well, I could go on and on about the people watching T-Time because a guy from India.
No way.
Oh, I didn't tell
we
you.
Have a little. Oh, hello.
Hello, India. Yeah, a guy from India sent me a message. I thought it was another perv. Because he said,
Well, it
hey,
might be, but that's okay.
He said, hey, baby. I was like, oh, Lord. So, not until he said, I'm a huge fan of T-Time with Tierra, did I go, hey. Because I didn't imagine. But, yeah, he is so sweet. From India.
That is fantastic.
In a different time zone, a different world. That, you know,
That's fantastic.
but we're all in alignment.
And you know that's one thing, because I'm also a partner in an internet radio station, and we're getting so many hits from overseas. You know, and I think a lot of people in the States kind of get used to their accessibility to even this type of programming, but worldwide this doesn't exist. You know what I mean? So I'm doing children now. I absolutely love it.
And sometimes when you think that you're not touching anybody,
Right.
that's really the negative energy feeding you. Like you were telling me earlier, it feeds you and
Makes
you
you
believe it.
self-centered, right?
So it's and then all of a sudden you get those messages
Right.
that changes the world.
Are you good seals, girl?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just cry. I have to endure it and wrap my arms around it because there's nothing more beautiful to know that you're touching people.
Right.
I love it.
Absolutely.
So we've really been talking a lot about that.
Well, no, before we go, you're gonna talk
I do.
about
I'm gonna start talking about some jewelry. I'm gonna wear a different piece of jewelry, or I'm gonna try to do that every Sunday that we take, and just talk about what it means to me. And this piece actually is kind of beautiful, isn't it? I mean, it sparkles.
Wow.
A good friend of mine, Gary Howe, bought this for me at an estate sale, and when he handed it to me, it felt like it had the best feeling. So what I did instead of putting it around my neck, I just put it around things I was doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like on my laptop, I put it around the edge of it.
Right.
Or it was, and he didn't probably not know that, you know? And I would just hold it sometimes. Because this piece of jewelry was given when I felt so much thought.
Right.
And I get things a lot, but I get things that people think you just want.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you get some people really think it would work for you, or it would be for your best intent, or it's just, it calls out.
Yeah. They
to
walk
them.
in the room, they see it, and they instantly think of you.
And so I just want to say thank you, Gary. I know you're watching because he watches this. Thank you for this. This means a lot to me.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. It's so
Excellent
different.
taste.
Yeah, it's great. And he used to
It's
say,
very Art Deco look.
yeah, it is. You know, he used to date a good friend, Elisa Fontaine, which everybody in Huntsville, whoever watches this, it's always cool. Well, no, Lisa Fontaine had the best taste.
Right.
Nothing but the finest. And he was her boyfriend. And then after they broke up, if I'm not mistaken, they stayed roommates until Greg passed away. You know, and so Lisa Fontaine still got good energy around me. She always tell me, I'm trying to find something wrong with you. Because she was a nitpicker. She could look at you and tell if you had a string hanging off your shoe, or something, whatever.
Oh, I'd be nervous wreck.
I was too. I used to be a nervous wreck, but that's okay. It gave me that moment to go, I'm going to try to let her kick something, but I ain't going to let
You
her.
can have a Lisa Fontaine moment. I'll check yourself out, right?
Yeah, you have that moment. But she's the finest. The finest. There's not been one like her since.
Wow.
So thank you. Thank you, Gary. So.
Thank you.